I saw the impact of the Rockets bludgeoning of the Kings over the weekend. They beat them twice. Kings fans are very upset because the perception is that Houston is awful, because that's what we have been trained to think in the post James Harden era. Then they go and you got the Dillon Brooks, LeBron James reunion, and that does not go well for the King. Dillon gets the best of him. The Rockets gets the best of the Lakers and put a whooping on them. Again,
I like how you call it the reunion.
I mean, bears and guys with things that poke bears. That's what was happening. It was a thing.
It would be like if Leo DiCaprio's character from The Revenant went back into the woods. And you're like, reunion.
Listen, it's funny you mentioned that. On social media somewhere. I just, for some reason, was fed an old picture of Leo DiCaprio when he filmed The Revenant, and it was the makeup room where they were putting all the scars and the cuts and the wounds on Leo. And it was kind of fascinating to watch. And, of course, as you do on social media, I got distracted by it. I look at it, but that's kind of what LeBron looked like last night. I think that's what the Rockets did to him and the Lakers. And it wasn't his fault. Again, they're banged up and all those disclaimers, but Houston, quick context here. They hire Ime Udoka, a tough defensive minded coach, who obviously did very well in his one season with Boston. They add Fred VanVleet, Dillon Brooks. Thought they had Brook Lopez. That would have been incredible if they got him. I think, we'd be talking about them as a difference maker now. But they're feisty in their fabric, I think, with Ime leading the way. And, oh, by the way, also leading the way in the no thank you James Harden club, is that this is who they want to be. And so it's a 4-game winning streak. The other win, so Charlotte, Kings, Lakers is the 4-game winning streak after they started 0-3, losing to Orlando, San Antonio, Golden State. They play hard. Jalen Green looks pretty good, and my God, can that dude fly? I could see them being fun. And then Dillon in particular, it cracks me up how, something about getting Dillon Brooks in a new jersey and not having his antics take place within the context of a pretty unhealthy Grizzlies situation. Like, that obviously compounded things for Memphis last season, had everything to do with them not wanting him back. I think I'm more comfortable with the idea of Dillon Brooks just being the villain for this Rockets team that is trying to shake things up. It's only been 3 games or 4 now, but they're fun to watch. And I could see them just, pissing some teams off that don't expect to lose when they play them.
Everything looks good when you're hitting shots.
Sure.
Everything looks good when you're hitting shots. Everything looks bad when you're not. Here's what I will say about Houston, which makes me think like, okay, well, this is great. And I think you have to give most of the credit to Ime Udoka. This was the most undisciplined team in the NBA over the last 2 years. They led the league in offensive rebounding rate last year. And the reason why they led the league in offensive rebounding rate wasn't because they were just like filled with offensive rebounders galore. It was because they were just like, oh, basketball. And they all chased after the basketball. And nobody ran back on defense. And they had the worst freaking transition defense you would ever see. They turned the ball over more than any team we would ever want. So the last 2 years, turned the ball over 2 years ago, 16.5% of their possessions. Dead last in the NBA. By far. By far. Last year, almost the identical number. By far, last in the NBA. This year, 10th best turnover rate in the NBA. Last couple of years, by far the worst transition defense in the NBA. Right now, 9th best transition defense in the NBA.
9th best defense too, overall.
Yeah.
And they were 29th and 30th last couple of years. They were god awful.
Yeah. So just like watching the Rockets play with discipline is just this jarring experience for me. It's really, we talk so much about getting an adult in the room, but they're playing like organized basketball, not like pick up in the park. You're on the black concrete basketball like we saw the last 2 years. They're playing real organized basketball, and that is huge. Also, we got to mention, man, Alperen Sengun is really freaking good.
Yeah.
That dude is he's just an offensive hub. He's the best passer on that team. And
18
he's kind of
6 right now.
honed. Yeah, and he's honed himself. He was a big reason for the turnovers because there is no pass in the world that guy thinks that he can't make. And sometimes he would do an insane thing. And the game is clearly slowing down for him. He's learning what he can and can't do, and he's getting better at the things that he couldn't do previously. He's tremendously skilled, and he's going to be a hell of a player. He's been really good for them.